to be thought through. Is what you're doing today going to benefit you in 20 years, or is it going to be throwaway? And if it is throwaway and you know that and you're okay with it, that's fine. I think the important thing is to understand where everything fits in context.
And what all of the attendant costs are, because if we have a laundry list of things that need to be accomplished in order to deal with the deficiencies in the system that have been identified. And just because we deal with one doesn't mean we don't have to deal with the other ones in the fullness of time. And so we're best served, in my view, to try to find a path forward that minimizes the total cost to the community for addressing as many of those deficiencies as we can.
Yeah.
Calvin, if the base, the Navy, is willing to extend that lease, about how many years were we talking about?
Well, again, talking to Katie at DEQ, she wouldn't do anything under the 50s, so she would want a 99-year lease. I fully think the tank is
Okay.
a viable tank because, there's two other, but still, like it says, there's probably might be some integrity there.
Right.
And as I brought up earlier, one of the things with this scared me would be owning it for 99 years.
Right. Now, if they do extend the lease, if you guys all agree to that, and we get that, what monies would we be able to get that we can't get if we don't have a lease?
Well, as he pointed out, USDA does a loan that I don't know if we have to have certain criteria on that loan. When I was talking to Kate, it sounds like we could probably get that money and not own the tank. But those are really the only two options, or well, three options really, and then we just self-do it, but that isn't feasible either, so we're pretty much broke as far as that goes. But so we only really have two options. Go with DEQ and try to meet their criteria, or follow that USDA thing. And again, I haven't really gone into that side very far. I just briefly talked to Katie with it, and I know it's like he says, it's 40 years. It's a higher interest, but if it works out to the benefit of the ratepayers, maybe we need to go. But we really only have two options. That's kind of where we're at right now.
And I know nothing's in stone. This is just some things that have just come up. But I was just kind of wondering.
Yeah.
Or do nothing for now.
Yeah, there's just really, you can do nothing too, but I mean, to a point, eventually, as he says, or we know, DAQ can force us too, so eventually we're gonna have to pay the piper somewhere along the line, so.
And the longer we wait to start on the list, the longer the list gets.
Right, and that's the thing, so I mean, we're
And
gonna
the
be
degradation of the
somewhat
tank.
proactive, I believe, but I don't know if we need to.
She's got a question back, but I'd like to add something. Can I add something to Calvin's first? So there are other funding sources. There are private loans, and they don't have the same requirements necessarily. They're shorter duration. They tend to be really high interest rate, and they have a high origination fee. So D.A. Davidson, for example, will loan on infrastructure, but you typically pay $100,000 or something initiation fee, origination fee, and then they tend to be around a 4 to 5% interest rate. So we haven't talked about those.
And we can go into the public bond market.
And that's the other piece. We have something called a bond bank, which is the public bond market, and that gets facilitated. And their rates tend to be lower, but that origination fee is the reason we haven't ever used them. If you're building a $30 million project, something like that makes sense. Last thing I'd add to what Calvin said is there may be a chance of getting grant money from rural development, but what they're looking for is what they call a similar system rate. So they want your base water rate, or your average water rate, to be around $50 a month. Once you get there, if you expand the project, you have a higher probability of getting some grant money. So thank you for.
Well, I was just curious, we talked about DEQ rates and loans. If we needed $1 million and we borrowed it, and then 15 years down the road we needed something else, can you borrow more without having it paid off? Or
You can.
You can, okay.
You can,
If your history is good.
Yeah,
As long as you have capacity to pay it, though.
yeah, if they're going to the private market, just like if you wanted to go out and buy a new car, they're gonna look at your ability to repay. And so if you don't make enough, i.e. the monthly rate, like what you were talking about, they won't give you the loan. They'll just say, sorry, nothing personal, but you don't make enough to repay us, so.
So can I ask a board question? How much do you think you could self-fund a year? What is,
Well, we just raised the rates $8 to help establish that fund, and Jesse is in the process of making sure that that dedicated money goes into a special fund.
That's on the agenda for the Wednesday meeting.
Yeah, which is, yeah.
And that's
this one's-
bringing in approximately 26K annually.
Yeah.
so if you increase rates for an extra $8 a month, you get 26,000 to apply toward service line or meter replacement or something like that. Yeah. Okay. And what's
3 to
interesting-
4 years to do any kind of project at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't, I mean, you can buy some meters and do things like that. And that's the benefit of doing a bond. You get to bite off everything at once, and then it gets subsidized, gets amortized over
Well, and
years.
as an older person, one of the things I like about a bond is that I get to participate in paying for it while I'm here, but I'm not buying long-lived improvements with current money.
You only pay it while you're here.
I'm only paying for it while I'm here, and when I'm gone, somebody else takes a turn at paying for it. It seems like especially in a community like ours, it seems it's much more fair to borrow the money and let it be paid off over the life of the improvement, rather than trying to self-fund stuff more or less up front, trying to accumulate enough money to pay cash for stuff.
I have a question about the two tanks. We'll call it blue and calico.
Okay.
In 2011, the blue tank was redone. But that tank wasn't used in the same way ours is used. Ours is used 24/7, 365 days a year, and it has been since the start. That's not the case for the other tank, is it?
That's correct. They only run it during the
So
summer
it's
season.
used
and
4
then-
months a year.
And then they do.
I
5
think
months?
Is it, I think, yeah, 5-6 months. I don't know exactly.
So that water weight hasn't been in that tank all year for 50 years.
Actually, that doesn't cause as much damage as you think. It's like a car. If a car isn't driven, it tends to be in worse shape. A water tank where water's kept in it and kept circulating is better than where it just sits.
Because I just go into that, when I look at the multiple times I've been in there, the cracks in the bottom of that tank worry me more than the water seeping outside. I don't want to go in there because I don't want it to fall on me.
I don't think it will.
I still don't want to go in there.
There's a lot of water on the floor in there.
The ongoing, I mean, a whole nother subject that we've never even ventured into is discussing the implications of ongoing maintenance costs that relate to something like this. The next time it needs to be coated, we're still coating something that's 110 feet in the air. Bob's been on top of that tank, I have too. It's a long damn way out there. And it's a long way to take all of the stuff that you need to work up there. And, I was up there with the guys that put the drone in there and sent it around, and, that was a pretty darn big task, getting all of that stuff up to the top of that tank. That's an ongoing and significant feature. The necessity to rebuild that stairway, we seem to tend to talk about that as though making those improvements would be optional, but I doubt if Bob thinks it's optional. And having been up there and stepped out the side of that thing onto the rotten wood deck out there, I can tell you, I don't think that it's optional. And I wished I had fall protection when I was climbing up that damn ladder. So those are expenses that we can't avoid, that we need to make, and that are associated with having a tank that's